Hello learners, welcome to the session Introduction to Cell. I am Dr. Arvind Shakya, Faculty of Biochemistry, School of Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Today I am going to talk about the basic fundamental knowledge of the cell. It is a topic of cell biology and this topic is of the BSc Honors Biochemistry program, and the cell biology deals with the structure and function of cells. So in this session I will explain what is cell and its discovery, the cell theory, classify cell, what are the basic structural organization of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, and differentiation between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell and animal and plant cell, and illustrate the basic components of bacteria and animal cell. So these are following topics which will be discussing in this session. As we know that Earth is a home of millions of living organisms. There are two types of living organisms. They can either unicellular or multicellular organism. Unicellular organism consists of single cell. For example, bacteria. Bacteria have a single cell unit that play very important role to the bacterial organism, and multicellular organism consist of more than one cell, such as monkey, plants, humans are consist of millions of the cells. So the structure of the unicellular organism and multicellular organism varies, and let us understand the what is a cell. Cell is a membrane enclosed living unit that contains aqueous fluid, vital molecules and minerals which are essential for life activities. It is the simplest form of life. It means a cell is the structure and functional unit of life, and cells provide the structure to all living organisms. Living organisms are of unicellular or multicellular organism. So the fundamental properties of a cell is that the cell can grow, reproduce, perform essential metabolic activities, respond to environments, and cell can also change according to environmental conditions. So cells provides the structural functional unit to all living organisms such as animal, plants, monkeys, bacteria, and so the cell is a smallest unit. It means we cannot see cell through our eye because cells are microscopic in size. The average size of a cell is about 0.5 micrometer to 100 micrometer in size. So unicellular organisms are smaller than the eukaryotic cell organism. So let us understand who discovered the cell, how the cell biology start. The cell biology fields start when the cell discovered. The scientist Robert Hooke discovered the cell. He used the microscope to view of the cork cell of the plant. What he observed that what dead cell wall of the plant, and Robert Hooke found the tiny compartments of cell under the microscope, and this tiny compartment looks like a honeycomb, so that he coined the term the cell. So this is the first step to discovery of cell, and the study of the cell led to the foundation of the cell biology. Later on, another famous scientist, Antony von Leeuwenhoek, was a Dutch businessman, self-taught biologist. He made himself a optical lenses which could be magnified 500 times of objects. So the magnification increases up to 500 times, so that he was able to see living things in a drop of water such as bacteria and protozoa and red blood cells. So he was the first scientist to view a living organism under the microscope. The contribution of the Robert Hooke and Antony Leeuwenhoek in the field of the cell biology led on 200 years later the cell theory is proposed by the three scientists, Sliden and Swan and the Robert Virchow. Sliden was a geologist, Sliden was a botanist, and Swan is the geologist. And they observed that the cell is the basic unit of structure and function in all living organisms, and all living organisms consist of one more cells. They studied the plant and animal organism under the microscope, and he concluded these 2 points. And Robert Virchow concluded that cells arise from the pre-existing cells through cell division. It means the new cells originated from the old cells through the cell division. So these are 3 fundamental points that led to the cell theory, and cell theory is a unifying concept of the biology. After the improvement in the instrument of the microscope, the modern cell theory states that the cells contain hereditary information, genetic material that pass to daughter cells during cell division. It means cells has an ability to divide into new daughter cells. So in this process of the cell division, the cellular genetic material transferred to daughter cells. And second point is that all cells have the same chemical composition. It means the cells is made up of the small atoms and minerals. So the composition of all cells, either unicellular cell or the multicellular cells, it means the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell has the same chemical composition. And third point is that energy flow occurs within cell. It means cells is a independent unit that can generate energy in order to perform basic essential function within the cell. So cells needs a energy to carry out the various biochemical reactions. And fourth point is that all biochemical physiological functions are carried out within the cell. So these 4 fundamental points include in the modern cell theory. So here we can understand that the modern cell theory is led to with the improvement of the microscopic field. So microscope is a instrument that allow us to view of the tiny objects. So the microscope, which is the fundamental essential instrument that help in the analysis of the cellular structures. And now come to we will understand how we classify cells. On the basis of the complexity of the cell structure, cells are divided into 2 major categories. One is the prokaryotic cell, another is the eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell means before nucleus, and eukaryotic cell means carry-on means nucleus, true nucleus. So prokaryotic cell has no true nucleus, while eukaryotic cell has a true nucleus. It means prokaryotic cell genetic material without the nuclear membrane, and in contrast eukaryotic cell has the membrane bound nucleus. So this is the basic fundamental differences between prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cell structure is very simple as compared to the eukaryotic cell. You can see here the prokaryotic cell structure covers with the plasma membrane, and the DNA is the genetic material of prokaryotic cell, is occupying in the region of the cytoplasm, which is called the nucleoid. So the chromosome is the single cellular, the chromosome is a DNA which found in the bacterial cytoplasm, and the plasma membrane also covers with the another outer covering layer which is called the cell wall. So here you can see the structure of the prokaryotic cell, and eukaryotic cell is a more complex because it has a membrane bound nucleus and membrane bound subcellular organelles. So there are many subcellular organelles such as Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, peroxisomes, mitochondria. These are membrane bound organelles which are present within the eukaryotic cell. So the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell is that the prokaryotic cell is smaller than the eukaryotic cell. The size of prokaryotic cell is about 0.5 to 2 micrometer in size, and eukaryotic cell size is about 10 to 100 micrometer in diameter. So these two type of prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell lead to the formation of millions of living organisms on this earth, and the term prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell is coined by the Hans Riss during the 1960s. Now, all cells share fundamental components. So what are the fundamental components which are similar to the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell? Plasma membrane, it is the outer boundary that encloses the all cell constituent and the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, it is a transparent and jelly-like aqueous medium enclosed by the plasma membrane, genetic material and the ribosome. The prokaryotic cell has 70s ribosome and eukaryotes has 80s ribosome. So these are components which are present in all cells of the all living organism. There are three domains of life on this earth. First is the bacteria, archaea and eukaryota, and the phylogenetic tree of life reveals that these three types of domain of life interrelated each other. They are evolutionarily linked, and the archaea is between bacteria and eukaryotes. So the archaea is more closely to the eukaryotes as compared to the bacteria. So the phylogenetic tree of the living organism is originated from the one progenitor cell. During the evolution of the living organism, the all three domain of life, bacteria, archaea and eukaryota, is originated from a common progenitor cells. So archaea is considered as this ancient simple form of life. Now here we discuss what are the archaea. Archaea is a prokaryotic organism. It is similar to bacteria, but its structure is differ from the bacteria. The term is archaea means the ancient ones, and they are probably first primitive organism originated on this earth since 3.5 billion years ago. So the archaea organism are considered as an extremophile organism because they can survive in extreme conditions like heat, cold, acid, salinity, pressure and radiation. So due to this survival in the extreme conditions of environment, they are called the extremophile organism. So archaea are the extremophile organism. Here you can see the Thermus aquaticus survive in the higher temperature, and Methanococcus survive at the methane gas conditions. Now, how we define the extremophiles? We define the extremophiles according to the survival condition of the archaea. For example, halophiles survive at high salt condition of sodium chloride, and thermophiles, bacteria such as D. sulfurcoccus survive at high temperature up to 85 degrees centigrade, and psychrophiles bacteria can survive at a very low temperature -10 to -20 degrees centigrade. Alkophiles, archaea survive at alkaline pH 9 to 11, and piezophile bacteria can survive under the high atmospheric pressure about 300 atmosphere, and thermopseudophile bacteria can survive at high temperature as well as the very low pH level 2 to 3. It means they can survive at the acidic medium. So these are the extremophiles classification. Now come to the large domain of organism, which is the bacteria. Here you can see the structural component of the prokaryotic organism is the bacteria. Bacteria is also a prokaryotic cell organism. It consists of the only single cell. As we know that Prokaryotic cell is a simple organism. It is consist of the prokaryotic cell, and the all essential activities performed within a single cell. So it is a single celled organism. The bacterium means, the word bacterium means a small stick, and the Ehrenberg proposed the name bacteria. The Anton Leeuwenhoek scientist first time discovered the bacteria under the microscope. So the bacterial components are plasma membrane. Here you can see the plasma membrane. It is the cell membrane means, and plasma membranes give shape and control nutrients movement into and out of the cell. And above the cell membrane, or we can say the cell membrane is cover a outer layer of the cell wall. So the cell wall covers the cell membrane, and inside the cell membrane there is a aqueous fluid jelly like granular substance which is called the cytoplasm. And within the cytoplasm, a genetic material, chromosomal DNA of bacteria is occupy the some space of the cytoplasm is called as a nucleoid. So here the nucleoid region does not cover by the nuclear membrane, so it is freely fluids in the bacterial cytoplasm. And bacteria has a 70s ribosome which are responsible for the protein synthesis, and some bacteria has also flagellum that helps in the movement of bacteria. And the outer surface of bacteria also contain the pili. Some of the bacteria does not contain pili, but some of bacteria contain the pili and flagella. And there is a capsule outer side of the bacteria. So these are the component of the bacterial structure, and the most bacteria have 0.5 to 2 micrometer in diameter. So bacteria are ubiquitous substance. They are present everywhere. They can harmful to our body, and they can also beneficial for our body. So they play a dual role. So some of the bacteria are pathogenic, such as Mycobacterium tuberculosis causes the TB, and some of the bacteria are present in the curd. They are also useful to synthesize some vitamins or nutrients within our body. So our body has also many types of bacteria which are not harmful, so they can also present in our gut or intestine. So they are present everywhere. They are present in water, and within animal, air, and the earth. So they are present everywhere. Now come to what are the morphology of bacteria. So three types of bacteria have, there are three types of morphology of bacteria, such as coccus bacteria, rod shape, and spiral, and some bacteria are curved in shape. So here you can see that the coccus bacteria is spherical, and they can also form in a chain form or the group form. Some bacteria are a single cell colony, make a single cell colony. Some are makes multiple colony, and they can also arrange in a chain form. So here this is a rod shape bacteria. Bacillus subtilis has the rod shape, and Streptobacilli has a linear shape structure, and spiral, they can also present a spiral form, and some bacteria are present in the curved rod. Look at the figure of bacteria. Some bacteria are purple color and some are violet color, and some bacteria has the pink or the violet color. So based on this gram staining, bacteria are classified into two categories. Gram negative bacteria gives pink or red color, and gram positive bacteria gives violet color. So the gram staining method defines the two category of the bacteria. One is the gram negative and second is the gram positive bacteria. The difference in the composition of the cell wall defines the staining of the color violet and pink color of the bacterial stain. The bacterial cell wall consists of the peptidoglycan. Gram-positive bacteria has a multiple layer of the peptidoglycan layer, and gram-negative bacteria has a thick layer. So the peptidoglycan consists of the repeating units of the N-acetylglucosamine and N-acetylmuramic acid with the short peptide chain. So the cell membrane is covered by the cell wall. It is a protective layer of the bacteria. So the composition difference between the gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria defines the staining and define the staining gram reaction. So here you can see that the cell membrane of bacterial cell is covered by the cell wall, which is the peptidoglycan layer, and the repeating units of the N-acetylglucosamine and N-acetylmuramic acid joined by the short peptide chain. So the parallel layer of each repeating units of N-acetylglucosamine and N-acetylmuramic acid joined together by the short peptide chain. And gram-negative bacteria has lipopolysaccharides also, but lipopolysaccharide does not present in the gram-positive bacteria. So here we can say that the gram-positive bacteria gives the violet color and gram-negative bacteria gives the pink or red color. Now we will understand the structure of the eukaryotic cell. If you compare the prokaryotic cell structure, the eukaryotic cell is more complex in comparison to prokaryotic cell organism. The plants, animals, fungi, protists belongs to eukaryotic domain. The eukaryotic cell is a more complex. Eukaryotic cell has an capability to make a tissue, organ and organ system, and finally gives a living organism. And eukaryotic cell also forms some single cell organism like amoeba and euglena. They are unicellular eukaryotic organism, while multicellular organism like human, cats, plants consist of millions of the eukaryotic cell. Now the basic component of the eukaryotic cell is the plasma membrane, cytoplasm, membrane bound nucleus, subcellular organelles, and the average size of an animal cell is about 10 micrometer to 100 micrometer. So the animal cell structure has the cell membrane. Within the cell membrane, the cytoplasm provides the space to occupy the various components of the subcellular organelles. The nucleus is a double membrane bound organelle, means it has the nuclear envelope, which is the double membrane, outer membrane and inner membrane. So nucleus is the storehouse of the genetic material DNA, which contain the nucleoplasm. It is aqueous fluid of the nucleus, and the nucleus has nucleolus, and nucleus is played important role for synthesis of the ribosomes. And the network of the endoplasmic reticulum, here you can see. So there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum: rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum has the ribosomes, but the smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have the ribosome. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum is attached to ribosomal subunits. Eukaryotic cell has a 80s ribosomal subunits, and mitochondria is a small subcell organelle. It is the energy house of the cell, and the Golgi body is also present here, and this is a Golgi body which is responsible for the protein modification and sorting, and the peroxisomes which break down of the hydrogen peroxide. So these are tiny subcellular organelles play specific functions for the cells, and most of the biochemical reactions takes place within the cell, and the cytoplasm is a aqueous medium which provides the biochemical reactions which helps in the biochemical reaction, or we can say the cytoplasm, most of the biochemical reaction takes place in the cytoplasm. So this is the structure of animal cell structure. Now the human body is made up of trillions of the cells. There are 200 types of the cells forms the human body. So the eukaryotic cell has capability to form and to organize into tissue, organ system, and the organism. So the human body is more complex as compared to the bacterial single celled organism. So human body has the blood cells, skin cells, bone cells, epithelial cells, cardiac cells, nerve cell, and muscle cells. So these specific cells perform a specific functions, such as nerve cell makes the nervous system, muscle cells helps in the movement and makes the muscle cells, and cardiac cells helps the formation of the heart organ, and bone cells makes the skeleton of the human body. So that these cells varies in shape and the morphology, but their structure is the same. Now come to the plant cell. Plants differs from the animal cell. Plant cells are also eukaryotic cell, and they have also the subcellular organelles such as mitochondria, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, and the nucleus. And here you can see the plant cells has a large vacuole and the unique organelle which is the chloroplast. So the plant cell is a photosynthetic cell which makes the nutrition and energy in the presence of the sunlight and water. And so this is the structure of the plant's cell, and the plant cell has also the cell wall. It is the outer boundary of the cell which covers the plasma membrane of the plant cell. So this is the fundamental unit of the all living organism. If you compare the animal and plant cells, you can see in this figure that the plant cell have chloroplast, vacuole, and cell wall which are not present in the animal cell. So these are the fundamental characteristic difference between animal cell and plant cells. Both cells have subcellular organelles, but the fundamental difference between animal cell and plant cell is that the cell wall, chloroplast, vacuoles present only in the plant cell. Now we will compare between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell has no true nucleus, and it means the DNA is present as a nucleate form. Eukaryotic cells has a true nucleus. It means the genetic material is covered by the nuclear membrane, and eukaryotic cell has also the nucleolus in the nucleus. And prokaryotic cell lacks a membrane organelles, while eukaryotic cell has a membrane bound organelles. Prokaryotic cell has a 70s ribosome, while eukaryotic cell has the 80s ribosome. Cell wall present in prokaryotic cells, but eukaryotic plant cell has the cellulose cell wall, and cell division by binary fission in the prokaryotic cell, and meiosis and mitosis in the eukaryotic cell. Genetic material is the DNA, and the eukaryotic cell has also the multiple chromosomes, means it is the similarity between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So both cells has the genetic material as a DNA, and there is no compartment within the prokaryotic cell, but there are subcompartments within the eukaryotic cell. Now come to the what is the cytoplasm, cytosol and nucleoplasm? The cells, all cells has the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is jelly-like medium, covers the everything between plasma membrane and the nucleus. It means it covers all components except the nucleus. So the region from the cell membrane to the nuclear membrane is called the cytoplasm. It is an intracellular fluid of the cell. And cytosol, it is a fluid of cytoplasm that floats inside cell. And it is cytosol, it is the part of the cytoplasm. And nucleoplasm, it is present in the nucleus. It is a thick fluid that contains chromosomes, proteins and the nucleus within the nucleoplasm. So the cytoplasm plus nucleoplasm is called the protoplasm. So the aqueous medium or fluid which is present within the cell is called the protoplasm. And key learning points is that all living organisms consist of cells. Cell is the fundamental unit of life that perform all biological functions, and the cell theory is a unifying concept in biology. And there are three domains of living organism: archaea, bacteria and eukaryote. And all cells have the plasma membrane, cytoplasm and genetic material DNA. Prokaryotic are simple organisms, they are unicellular, while eukaryotes are either unicellular or multicellular organism, and they are also complex organism. So all eukaryotic cells have true nucleus and membrane organelles, and the cell wall, chloroplast and vacuoles are unique features to plants. So these three components such as cell wall, chloroplast and vacuoles are not present in the animal cells, but few vacuoles can also present in animal cell. But the plant cell has a large vacuole to store of the nutrients. And here there are some self-assessment question. Question 1, you can solve this self-assessment question after going through this session. And there are some suggested books and online resources. You can read of these suggested books and open the online resources using the internet, so you can get a more knowledge about the cell structure and functions. I hope you will understand the basic concept of the cell biology. Thank you.